Hello, everyone, and welcome to Speak Up. I'm Ryan, and today we are tackling a very exciting topic: how to learn 100 words in a week. Have you ever felt frustrated after learning new English words, only to see them vanish from your memory within days? It's as if all your hard work just slips away, leaving you feeling stuck and discouraged. But what if there was a simple method to lock these words in for life? Today, we're not just memorizing, they're becoming a permanent part of your vocabulary. Imagine speaking English confidently, with every word at your fingertips, improving your fluency without that constant struggle. Stay tuned, because by the end of this episode, we'll reveal a powerful technique that can change the way you learn English forever.
Hi everyone, I'm Priya, and I'm thrilled to join Ryan on this transformative journey. As he mentioned, today's challenge is to learn 100 words in just 1 week, a goal that might seem overwhelming, but it's entirely achievable. Have you ever experienced the frustration of studying hard only to forget those words when you need them most? Well, imagine turning that frustration into confidence, where every new word becomes a building block for your English fluency. We'll walk you through simple, practical steps to ensure that these words stick with you long term. So, get ready to say goodbye to forgotten vocabulary and hello to a more confident, fluent you. Stay with us as we dive into the secrets of mastering English effortlessly.
First, let's start with the right mindset. One of the biggest mistakes many learners make is trying to memorize words without any real connection. You know, if you've ever struggled to remember new words, it's not your fault. The problem isn't you, it's the method. Often, we try to learn English by simply reading endless lists of vocabulary, which makes us rely on translating in our heads. This approach isn't effective, especially for English for beginners, because it doesn't build any meaningful connections. Instead, imagine learning words with purpose, tying them to emotions, experiences, or real-life scenarios. This way, you naturally overcome the fear of speaking English because you're not stuck in a loop of constant translation. It's about making each word come alive in your mind so they stick with you for the long run.
Exactly, Ryan. I've been there feeling frustrated when words just don't stick. The key is to learn words with meaning rather than as random bits of information. When you connect a word to a personal story or an emotion, it transforms from just another term into something real and memorable. This method helps you learn how to stop translating in your head, allowing you to think in English more naturally. For those just starting out, this approach makes the journey less overwhelming. Instead of feeling lost in endless vocabulary lists, you build a mental network where every word has a purpose. This emotional connection not only boosts your memory, but also gives you the confidence to speak without hesitation. It's about transforming your learning process into something engaging and personal.
Exactly, Priya. Let's dig a little deeper. When we memorize words without context, it's like trying to remember names without any story behind them. They just slip away. Instead, by associating words with vivid experiences or even simple visuals, you create a lasting impression. For instance, think about the word vibrant. Rather than just repeating it, remember a moment when you saw a lively street market or felt the energy of a bustling crowd. This method is not only more engaging, but also helps you overcome the fear of speaking English because you're not anxious about forgetting. It's a shift from mechanical learning to a more natural, story-driven approach. When every word has a story, you're more likely to recall it when needed, making your language practice feel effortless and enjoyable.
Absolutely, Ryan. And it's important to remember that this isn't just about learning vocabulary. It's about transforming the way you interact with English. When you build connections between words and your personal experiences, you create a language that feels truly yours. This is a powerful tool for English for beginners, as it directly addresses the common challenge of relying too much on translation. Instead, you begin to think in English, making your conversation smoother and more natural. By embracing this mindset, you not only overcome the fear of speaking English, but also open up a world where language becomes a bridge rather than a barrier. So, let's commit to learning with meaning, connecting every new word to a part of our lives, and watch how it transforms our confidence and fluency.
All right, folks, let's dive into our 7-day plan for learning 100 words. For days 1 and 2, we start by focusing on 20 new words. Use images and associations. Picture each word in a vivid scenario that makes it memorable. This approach acts as your very own English vocabulary builder and gives you some fantastic tips to memorize English words. When you connect each word to a clear image or feeling, it sets a strong foundation. Trust me, visual cues work wonders. Each day is a step towards the fluent, confident English speaker you want to be, so get ready to make those associations count.
Exactly, Ryan. Moving on to days 3 and 4, it's time to put those words into practice by creating short sentences. This step is crucial because it shifts the words from mere memorization into daily English conversation. When you form sentences, you're not only reinforcing the words, but also understanding how they work in context. This makes your learning process more dynamic and practical. Imagine chatting with a friend or writing a quick note, all while using your new vocabulary naturally. Every sentence you craft builds your confidence and brings you closer to fluent communication. Remember, each day is a step towards the fluent, confident English speaker you want to be.
Right on, Priya. For days 5 and 6, we take it a step further by practicing these words in real-life conversations. Whether you're talking to a friend, joining a language exchange, or even practicing aloud in front of a mirror, using your new vocabulary in conversation is key. This immersive practice transforms those words into a natural part of your speech. Don't worry about making mistakes. Every error is a learning opportunity. It's all about integrating the words into your daily interactions so that speaking in English becomes as natural as breathing. Remember, every day you practice brings you closer to overcoming that fear of speaking English.
And finally, on day 7, it's time to test yourself with fun challenges. Quiz yourself, try language apps, or have a friendly competition with a peer. Testing is the perfect way to reinforce what you've learned and celebrate your progress. It shows you how far you've come and highlights the words that really stick. This final day wraps up your week with an exciting review that turns learning into a rewarding experience. So keep in mind, every day is a step towards the fluent, confident English speaker you want to be. Embrace the challenge and watch as your vocabulary and your confidence grow dramatically.
Now that we've nailed our 7-day plan, let's talk about how to make these 100 words stick with you for the long haul. One fantastic way is by using the shadowing technique for fluency. Here's the deal. You listen to native speakers, whether it's from a podcast, a movie clip, or any authentic conversation, and immediately repeat what you hear. It's like training your brain just like a child learns their first words, naturally and effortlessly. This technique not only boosts your English pronunciation tips, but also helps you understand native English speakers better. It shifts your mindset so that you start thinking directly in English without that constant need to translate in your head.
Exactly, Ryan. When you shadow, you're really immersing yourself in the language. Picture this. Every time you mimic a native speaker, you're not just repeating sounds, you're internalizing the rhythm, the intonation, and the emotion behind each word. This practice helps you learn how to think in English, making the language feel more natural and accessible. It's one of the most effective ways to ensure that new vocabulary becomes a part of your everyday conversation. Plus, by constantly exposing yourself to real-life speech, you gain valuable insights into how to understand native English speakers more clearly. It's a simple, yet powerful approach that transforms learning from a chore into a fun, engaging exercise.
Right, Priya. Let's dive a bit deeper. The beauty of the shadowing technique is that it's all about active engagement. Instead of passively listening, you immediately echo the words and sentences you hear, which reinforces your memory and hones your pronunciation. Over time, this repetition builds a strong neural pathway that makes it easier to recall and use the words naturally. It's like giving your brain a workout. Each repetition is a rep that builds strength and confidence. And as you get more comfortable, you'll notice you're not just mimicking sounds, but you're starting to feel the emotion and context behind the words. This is a major step in learning how to think in English, which is essential for true fluency.
Absolutely, Ryan. And here's something to really get excited about. The more you practice shadowing, the more natural your speech becomes. It's like having a conversation with yourself, where every echo of a word cements its meaning in your mind. This technique is a game changer, especially when you want to improve your English fluency and feel confident in daily conversation. I promise that with regular practice, you'll start noticing improvements in your accent and overall understanding of the language. So get ready to embrace this method and see the difference it makes. And next, let's talk about a fun, effortless way to make these words a permanent part of your vocabulary.
Now that we've explored effective techniques, let's talk about the real game changer, practicing through real-life conversations. When you engage in a daily English conversation, you build fluency much faster than any textbook ever could. It's one thing to memorize words, but another entirely to use them in the flow of a natural conversation. Real-life English conversations force you to think on your feet, boosting your ability to speak English confidently. Imagine this. Every time you speak, you're actively reinforcing those words in your brain, making them part of your everyday vocabulary. This dynamic practice not only improves your fluency, but also prepares you for the spontaneity of real interactions.
Exactly, Ryan. I challenge every listener today to take a bold step. Try to use at least 10 new words from this week's list in a conversation, no matter how short it is. Just imagine the pride you'll feel when you naturally use these words in conversation. No hesitation, no fear. This isn't just practice. It's about transforming your approach to language. Instead of studying in isolation, you're applying your knowledge in real time. This practice not only cements your memory, but also builds your confidence. Each conversation becomes a mini victory that propels you closer to fluency. It's all about making the leap from theory to practice in a way that feels natural and rewarding.
Let's break it down further. When you immerse yourself in real conversations, you start to notice the subtle differences in how native speakers use words, their tone, and even their body language. This immersive experience is key to learning how to think in English, rather than constantly translating in your head. Over time, these interactions help you develop an instinct for the language. And the best part is that every conversation you have, whether with a friend or a language partner, reinforces your new vocabulary. Each real interaction is like a live workshop, sharpening your skills and allowing you to express yourself more naturally.
Absolutely, Ryan. And remember, the goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Every time you use those 10 new words, you're taking a significant step toward fluency. Think of it as building a bridge from where you are now to the confident English speaker you aspire to be. Real-life conversations are your training ground. They give you immediate feedback and the chance to adjust, so you gradually overcome any hesitation. Embrace each opportunity to talk, and soon you'll find that speaking becomes second nature. So, go ahead. Take that challenge today and feel the difference in every interaction. Your journey to speaking English confidently starts with one conversation at a time.
All right. Now that we've explored conversations with others, let's talk about practicing alone. Sometimes, you might feel more comfortable practicing by yourself, especially if you identify with English practice for introverts. One effective method is mirror speaking practice. Stand in front of a mirror and talk to yourself using your new words. This might feel unusual at first, but it's a great way to see your facial expressions and build confidence. As you speak, focus on how to speak English without hesitation. This practice helps you get comfortable with your own voice, reinforcing your pronunciation and boosting your fluency. It's all about creating a safe space where you can experiment and improve at your own pace.
Exactly, Ryan. And alongside mirror practice, another fantastic method is journaling for fluency. Every day, take a few minutes to write down your thoughts, stories, or even simple sentences using your new vocabulary. This practice not only enhances your English writing skills, but also helps you internalize the words by putting them into context. When you see your progress written down, it builds a sense of accomplishment and motivates you to keep moving forward. Remember, fluency isn't just about knowing words, it's about using them, and you are doing it one journal entry at a time. Embracing these techniques can truly transform your language journey.
Right on, Priya. Let's dive a little deeper into mirror practice. Picture yourself in a quiet room, facing a mirror, and confidently speaking out loud. You're not just rehearsing words, you're practicing the rhythm and flow of English. This method lets you notice areas for improvement in your pronunciation and builds your self-assurance. It's like having a mini speaking session with yourself where you can experiment without fear of judgment. As you repeat the words and phrases, you'll find yourself speaking more naturally, gradually eliminating that hesitation. This simple exercise is key to mastering how to speak English without hesitation, especially for those quiet moments when you need a confidence boost.
Absolutely, Ryan. And let's not underestimate the power of journaling. By writing daily, you create a personal record of your progress. Whether you jot down your thoughts about the day or narrate a small story, each sentence reinforces your new vocabulary and enhances your English writing skills. This reflective practice helps you see how far you've come and motivates you to use your words confidently in real-life situations. Together, mirror speaking and journaling form a dynamic duo for solo practice. Remember, fluency isn't about simply knowing words, it's about actively using them. And you are doing it step by step every day. Keep practicing, and soon you'll notice how naturally English flows from you.
Now let's dive into a common challenge, the forgetting curve. Our brains naturally erase unused information, which is why new words can slip away if we don't review them. Without regular practice, even the most exciting vocabulary fades quickly. That's why we need a smarter strategy to keep these words fresh in our minds. The solution is the spaced repetition technique, reviewing your words at strategic intervals. Think of it as giving your memory little boosts over time. When you revisit a word at 1 hour, then again at 1 day, 1 week, and finally 1 month, you reinforce its connection in your brain. This method not only helps to lock in your vocabulary, but also complements practices like English listening practice and using the best apps to learn English.
Exactly, Ryan. By using spaced repetition, you actively combat the natural tendency of your brain to forget. Each review session is like a mini refresher that keeps your vocabulary alive. For instance, when you notice you've started to mix up phrases or even fix English grammar mistakes, that's your cue to revisit and solidify your learning. Incorporating this technique with your daily routine, such as quick reviews during your commute or using language apps, makes it an integral part of your study. And remember, every review is a step towards fluency. When you combine these reviews with methods like English listening practice, you create a robust learning cycle that builds lasting memory.
Think of it this way. Every time you revisit a word, you're not just refreshing your memory, you're strengthening it. With each review, the word becomes more deeply rooted in your brain until eventually, it becomes a natural part of your vocabulary. By following this structured approach, you're transforming your learning into a long-term asset. And here's the emotional boost for you. By the end of this week, you won't just have 100 new words. You'll have 100 words you can actually use confidently and naturally.
Absolutely, Ryan. And as we wrap up today's episode, we want to thank you for spending your time with us on Speak Up. We're committed to making every minute valuable in your English learning journey. Remember, consistency is key, and every review session takes you one step closer to fluency. Thank you for being part of our community, and we can't wait to see you in the next podcast. Stay confident, keep practicing, and always speak English confidently.